Hello everyone, I'm Corbin and this is Plant Basics. So, on this little table over here, we have a collection of plants. This table I would kind of class as being at the lower end of like medium height, even though there is a small window over there. The light intensity really does drop dramatically from over here to over here. And even though I have a little light here, that is not a grow light, it's only here for decorative purposes, but I do kind of think perhaps the ZZ plant is kind of getting a little bit of extra light. So all of the plants on here are really easy care house plants. So we start off with the ZZ plant, which is a really low maintenance, easy to care for plant that can also thrive on neglect. You can see that this plant is in a bit of a low light situation by the fact that the leaves are kind of stretched like this. And then next to these ZZ plants, we have a small snake plant, Sansevieria. And this is also a great low light plant because it just like thrives and grows nicely in lower light situations. Although it is a plant that's quite versatile in the light that you can actually grow it in, because it can go all the way from bright, almost full sun, all the way to low light. So it's quite a big spectrum for a plant to actually grow in, and it's actually one of the only plants I know that can actually tolerate full sunlight, having direct sunlight on it, and also be in low light. Then in front of the Sansevieria, there is a small Philodendron Brazil, and I also think that the light intensity here is not entirely enough for this plant, but by the fact that it has produced a green vine. And so this would mean that perhaps the variegation is not picking up enough photosynthesis. And this means that because it has variegation in it, that with this light conditions, it's not photosynthesizing enough. And that's why it's produced a green offshoot. And then next to the Philodendron Brazil, we have a pothos, which is really also a great trailing houseplant for lower light conditions because it can tolerate those conditions that a lot of other plants would struggle in. And over here I have a little asparagus fern. Now this fern, I can tell you, well, it's not actually a fern, but you guys know what I mean. This plant, I can tell you, is not really happy where it is. It has a lot of yellowing foliage, like the, I'm not sure what you call these, like the leaves. There's small little leaves are falling off the stalk, so I think that this plant might need to be moved to a more of like a medium light situation where it's not really thriving where it is. It's also, remember, being overshadowed by these other plants. So yeah, perhaps one to move. And then at the back, I have a little peace lily. So peace lilies are also great in low light, but the one thing with a peace lily in low light is that there is a trade-off with flowering. So peace lilies are capable of tolerating lower light situations and look quite good, but they will not produce flowers. So then over here on the small table next to the window, we have a Kentia palm, which is a very easy to grow low light palm. We also have a vase of lucky bamboo, Also a great plant for medium light situations. This is a small peace lily sensation. It's the one that produces the big leaves. And then in front of this we have a Stromhanthe trio star, which is not actually looking in the best of shape. So I wonder what's up with that. But this peace lily is actually really starting to pick up now. It was kind of like sad and small for a long time, and then a few months ago it just started to get alive. This vase of lucky bamboo is also a great low maintenance houseplant, because all that you effectively have to do is change out the water in the bottom of the vase about twice a month or so. So I'm very happy with this little arrangement. So this corner is quite a dark corner, let's be honest. There's no windows, like the windows over there, but like the light is not really reaching this area. So don't be fooled. This fiddly fig does not stay here permanently. It's only here because we took photos of the house to put it online. So that's the only reason this plant is here. It would not survive in this corner. But the other thing that is actually doing quite well here, of course, the peace lilies. But as I mentioned earlier, although peace lilies can grow in lower light and actually look quite well, they do not flower. I've not had flowers from these plants since we've moved here, and that was in 2018. So these plants are not flowering, but they are, however, growing, which is kind of okay for the purpose of what's happening here, because I wanted to cover up a lot of the electronic equipment and stuff at the back, so it does create a nice full effect in front, and also cover up this ugly thing that my husband insists that we had to have. So if you're looking for a cool plant for a more of a low light situation, peace lilies. And then here under the stairs I have a single Kentia palm. I actually had more plants here, but in the preparation for the move, and also because I had people coming to look at our place, I wanted to have it decluttered. So I only have this single little plant over here. It's also doing quite well. Kentia palms are also palms that can actually tolerate a wide light spectrum, from medium indirect light to lower light, although the growth will be slower. This plant, it's not growing as fast as it could be growing if it was in a brighter indirect light. And of course you guys all know my parrot, Alex, who's always making noises and talking in all of my videos.